Commander Sarah Thane stood alone in her darkened quarters, staring at the holographic message that had arrived 3 hours ago. The timestamp glowed in the corner, 1847 hours. She'd been sitting vigil at Kate Thorne's bedside when it came through. She'd ignored it then, too focused on the unconscious man who'd saved her daughter. Now she wished she'd never opened it. The hologram flickered to life again. 3 massive Vorax mercenaries filled the projection, their grey skin pulled tight over corded muscle. Between them knelt a small figure, a child with silver blue skin and violet eyes wide with terror. But this wasn't Nyx, not her Nyx safe in the medical bay under marine guard. This was a recording, a threat. The largest Vorax Krax, the one who'd escaped custody after the tunnel incident, leaned into the camera. His teeth were filed to points. "Commander Thane, by the time you see this, I'll be far from your reach, but I want you to know something." His smile was terrible. "I know your weakness now. Not military secrets, not your command, your daughter, and that human who saved her." The recording shifted, showed Krax in a holding cell, recording this message hours after his arrest and before his escape. "I'm coming back, Commander. And when I do, I'll take everything you love. Your daughter, your human guardian. One by one, I'll make them scream. And you'll watch, just like I watched you destroy my operation." The hologram showed another figure being dragged into frame. Grell, the third mercenary from the tunnels, the one who'd been beaten unconscious. "My brother here has friends," Krax continued. "Friends who are very unhappy about what happened. They're gathering forces as we speak. A battleship, warriors, weapons. And when we return," he leaned close to the camera, "New Haven Station will burn, unless you give me what I want." The message ended. Sarah stood frozen, her hands clenched into fists. This wasn't just a threat, it was a promise. Krax had escaped custody 12 hours ago. Station security was searching, but he'd vanished like smoke. And somewhere out there, he was planning his revenge. She looked at the time. 2200 hours. Kate had been unconscious for 4 weeks. Nyx was sleeping in the med bay's family room, refusing to leave until Papa Cade woke up. Sarah pulled up her communicator and sent an urgent message to station security. "Maximum alert. Krax escaped. Credible threat against station. Protect Kate Thorne and Nyx Thane at all costs." Then she allowed herself one moment of weakness. One moment to feel the crushing weight of fear. Her daughter had almost died once. The man she was beginning to care about had nearly been beaten to death protecting Nyx. And now Krax was coming back to finish what he'd started. Title card 8 hours earlier. 0:30. The perfect commander. The morning had started perfectly. Too perfectly. Sarah would think later. New Haven Station hung in stable orbit, 1,200 miles above Houston, Texas. From the observation deck, Earth curved below, blue and white and achingly beautiful. The station itself was a Marvel 3 rotating rings, connected by a central hub home to 40,000 souls from 63 species. Commander Sarah Thane walked through the civilian sector with her daughter's hand in hers. Around them, the morning shift was beginning. Human workers in orange jumpsuits hauled cargo containers. Trilaxian merchants called out prices. A group of century diplomats argued in their clicking language near a coffee vendor. Nyx bounced with each step, her silver blue hair catching the light. At 8 years old, she had her mother's violet eyes and her late father's insatiable curiosity. She wore a simple blue dress, no formal robes, no marks of rank. Sarah had never wanted her daughter to feel separate from others. "Mama, can we see the cargo bay?" Nyx tugged on Sarah's hand. "Teacher said Earth ships bring seeds that grow into real trees." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. These moments were rare, just mother and daughter. No fleet commands, no battle reports, just peace. "We can look, but you must not touch anything. The cargo workers are busy." "I promise." They turned into Bay 7 where the morning shift was unloading a transport from Earth. The bay was massive, 3 stories tall, with loading cranes suspended from the ceiling. Containers stacked 20 feet high bore shipping codes and destination markers. Sarah scanned the area automatically. Exits here and here. Sightlines blocked by containers. Security cameras in corners. Even during a simple outing, she couldn't turn off the warrior's instinct that assessed every threat. Sometimes it was exhausting being always ready, always vigilant, always alone at the top. A man emerged from between cargo stacks, pushing a hover pallet. He was human, mid-40s perhaps, with brown hair graying at the temples. His jumpsuit read, "Thorn," across the back. He moved with careful economy, each motion, deliberate, controlled, like someone who'd learned to take up as little space as possible. Nix, not watching her path, collided with the pallet's corner. She yelped and stumbled backward. Sarah's hand shot out, catching her daughter before she fell. The man stopped instantly, his face draining of color. "Ma'am, I'm so sorry. I didn't see. Is she hurt?" Nix giggled, already recovered. "I'm okay. I wasn't looking." But the man didn't relax. His eyes stayed fixed on the floor, shoulders hunched, like he expected punishment. Sarah recognized that posture. She'd seen it in soldiers with deep trauma, those who'd learned to make themselves invisible to avoid pain. "It's fine," Sarah said, her tone sharper than intended. "My daughter should watch where she walks." The man nodded quickly, already turning to leave. "Wait," Nix called. "Are you from Earth, real Earth?" The man, Thorn paused, glanced at Sarah, seeking permission. She gave a slight nod. "Yes," he said quietly. "Born in Colorado, mountains and forests." Nix's eyes widened. "Does Earth really have oceans you can swim in, and animals that aren't in cages?" For the first time, the man's expression softened. Something like warmth flickered across his weathered face. "The biggest oceans you can imagine, blue all the way to the horizon. And yes, animals everywhere. Deer in the mountains, eagles in the sky." He paused, and something painful crossed his features. "When I was about your age, I used to watch them with my—" He cut himself off abruptly. The walls went back up. "You should ask your teacher. They can explain better than I can." "But I want to hear about the real Earth," Nix insisted. "The Earth people actually live on." Sarah placed a hand on her daughter's shoulder. "Mr. Thorn has work to do, Nix. We shouldn't keep him." Relief flickered across the man's face. He nodded, more a flinch than a gesture, and disappeared between the cargo stacks. Nix watched him go with obvious disappointment. "He seemed sad, Mama." "Some people carry sadness," Sarah said. "It's not our concern." But as they continued their tour, Sarah found herself thinking about the cargo worker, about how he moved like a man who'd forgotten how to occupy space, about the moment his face had softened, talking about Earth before he remembered to be afraid. Weak, she thought reflexively. Not like the warriors she commanded, not like her husband, had been strong and proud until the day he died. Her communicator chimed. "Fleet command, urgent meeting." Sarah sighed. There was always something. Pirates, disputes, supply issues, the endless grind of command. "Nix, I need to take this meeting." She flagged down one of the station teachers, a kind Andorian woman named Sela. "Can you continue the tour? I'll meet you at the education center in 1 hour." Nix hugged her mother tight. "Okay, Mama. Don't work too hard." Sarah watched her daughter escape away with the other children chattering about oceans and trees. For a moment, she let herself feel the weight of 8 years of single parenthood. 8 years being both warrior and mother, never quite enough of either. She shook her head. No time for self-pity. She straightened her uniform and headed for the command level. She had no idea that in 47 minutes, her entire world would shatter. The abduction. The fleet command briefing room was stark white walls, holographic displays, a table seating 20. Sarah took her seat near the head, surrounded by officers from half a dozen species. Admiral Corwin, a gruff Andorian with ice blue skin, was mid-sentence when she arrived. Reports of Vorax activity in Sector 7. 3 merchant ships boarded, cargo stolen, crews spaced. Standard piracy, but frequency is increasing. Sarah pulled up the tactical display. Red dots marked attack sites, forming a pattern creeping toward core systems. Concerning but not unusual. The Vorax syndicate had plagued shipping lanes for years. Recommendations, Corbin asked. Increase patrol density, Sarah said. Deploy fast response teams at jump points. They'll move to easier targets once they know we're watching. Other officers nodded. Standard doctrine. The meeting droned on. Resource allocation, patrol schedules, maintenance windows for defense platforms. Sarah's mind drifted to Nyx. Was she enjoying the hydroponic gardens? Her daughter loved watching plants grow in spirals under artificial sun. Her personal communicator vibrated. Once, twice, 3 rapid pulses. Emergency signal. Sarah's blood turned to ice. She pulled out the device. Commander Thane, your daughter missing. Last seen maintenance is level 3. Security footage shows abduction. 3 Vorax operatives. The room tilted. Sound became muffled, distant. Sarah read the message again. The words refused to make sense. Nyx. Missing. Abducted. Vorax. Commander Thane. Corvin's voice came from far away. Are you well? Sarah stood so fast her chair clattered backward. Every eye turned to her. They saw Commander Thane, hero of Kepler 7, the woman who never showed weakness. They didn't see the mother whose heart was breaking. Emergency, she said, her voice flat, dead. I have to go. She didn't wait for dismissal, didn't explain. She walked out, her stride quickening until she was running through New Haven's corridors. Her daughter was missing, and for the first time in 30 years of military service, Commander Sarah Thane had absolutely no idea what to do. 7 Hoover's desperate measures. Sarah burst into station security like a storm. The main office was organized chaos monitors showing different sectors, personnel, coordinating search teams, the steady chatter of radio communications. Chief Ryland, a stocky human with 20 years on the force, looked up from his console. His expression was grim. Commander, we have teams searching maintenance level 3. No sign of your daughter yet, but we found evidence of forced entry into the secondary tunnel system. Sarah's hands gripped his desk edge. Show me the footage. Ryland pulled up security video. Timestamp 47 minutes ago. The screen showed a corridor outside the education center. Children in a group, teacher Sela leading them. There Nyx, her blue dress bright against grey walls. A hand reached from a doorway, grabbed Nyx's arm. The girl's mouth opened to scream. The hand clamped over it. She was pulled into the maintenance corridor in under 3 seconds. Professional. Planned. Precise. 3 Vorax operatives, Ryland said. We've identified 2 from previous incidents. Kraxvorn and Grell. Mercenaries for hire not interested in ransom. They're working for someone. Where did they go? Maintenance tunnels. They run throughout the station, hundreds of access points, miles of corridors. Ryland hesitated. Commander, we're doing everything possible, but those tunnels are a maze. They could be anywhere. Sarah stared at the frozen image of her daughter's terrified face. 47 minutes. Nyx had been in Vorax's hands for 47 minutes. What had they done to her? The thought threatened to break her. She shoved it down deep. Every available officer searches those tunnels. Seal all exits. No one leaves this station without being scanned. Already in progress, Commander. It wasn't enough. Sarah knew protocol. By the time they locked down exits, the Vorax could have Nyx off station beyond reach, gone forever. She needed another option. Movement caught her eye. In the corner of the security office, someone hunched over a secondary monitor. Not security, a civilian. The cargo worker from this morning, Thorn. He was cycling through camera feeds, fingers moving quickly. What is he doing here? Sarah demanded. Ryland glanced over. Thorn. He saw your daughter being taken, came straight to security. Says he knows the maintenance system, used to be a marine engineer before he mustered out. Sarah crossed to where Thorn sat. He didn't look up, focused entirely on screens. She watched him building a map in his mind, tracking movements through camera blind spots with the precision of someone who'd done this 1,000 times before. There, he said quietly, pointing. Maintenance junction M47. 3 large figures moving fast. Timestamp puts them 12 minutes behind your daughter's abduction. Sarah looked. The image quality was poor angle wrong, but she could make out shapes. 3 Voraks moving with purpose. They're heading toward the old industrial section, Thorne continued. Scheduled for demolition next month. Half the systems offline. Perfect place to hide. He pulled up a station schematic. His finger traced a route through maintenance tunnels with absolute certainty. If they stick to camera blind areas, they'll use this path. It's the only route that doesn't expose them. Sarah studied the map. She'd never bothered learning maintenance systems that was beneath a fleet commander's concern. But this man, this quiet cargo worker, had the entire network mapped in his head. How certain are you? 80%. He finally looked at her. His eyes were clear, focused. This wasn't the nervous man from the cargo bay. This was someone else. Someone who knew exactly what he was doing. But Commander, if you send a security team, they'll hear you coming. Those tunnels echo. The Voraks will know you're approaching 50 feet out. Then what do you suggest? Thorne hesitated. Small team, 2 people maximum. Someone who knows how to move quietly and someone who can fight when needed. He was volunteering. The realization struck Sarah like a physical blow. This stranger, this cargo worker, who flinched when spoken to, was offering to walk into a Vorak's ambush. For a child he'd met once, for 5 seconds, in a cargo bay. Why? The word came out harsher than intended. Why would you risk yourself for a child you don't know? Something ancient and painful crossed Thorne's face. Old grief worn smooth by years but never forgotten. I had a sister, Lily. She was 16 when our transport lost power in an asteroid field. I was on a different ship, different sector. His voice went hollow. I watched her die on a view screen, watched the ship break apart, watched the life pods fail. There was nothing I could do. He stood, meeting Sarah's eyes for the first time with something like defiance. This time there's something I can do, and I'm not going to stand by and watch another kid die if there's any chance at all I can help. Sarah looked at this man. This broken, grieving man offering her the only hope she had. Every instinct screamed this was wrong. He wasn't a soldier anymore. He was a civilian, soft from years of cargo work. He'd get himself killed, and Nix would die anyway. But Nix was running out of time, and this man knew the way. Sarah Thane, who had commanded thousands, who had never asked for help, who had built her identity on being strong enough to handle anything alone, made the hardest choice of her life. She looked at Cade Thorne and said the words she'd sworn never to say. Please, help me save my daughter. Then deep into the darkness, they moved through the station like ghosts. Sarah had changed into light combat armor, flexible plating weapon at her hip. Thorne wore his cargo jumpsuit, carrying only a heavy-duty flashlight and a maintenance toolkit that clinked softly with every step. The entrance to the maintenance tunnels waited in a forgotten corner of level 3, behind stacked equipment gathering dust. Thorne keyed in an override code. Apparently every cargo worker memorized them, and the door hissed open. Darkness waited beyond, the kind of darkness that swallowed light. Stay close, Thorne said. Step where I step. Some of these catwalks aren't as stable as they should be. They descended into the bowels of New Haven Station. The maintenance tunnels were narrow, barely wide enough for 2 people side by side. Pipes lined the walls, some humming with power, others cold and silent. The air smelled of machine oil and recycled oxygen that tasted faintly metallic. Sarah had spent her career in clean, orderly spaces, command decks and barracks, training halls and briefing rooms. This underworld was alien to her. But Thorne moved through it like he'd been born here, navigating by some internal compass that needed neither light nor landmarks. How do you know these tunnels so well? Sarah asked, voice low. Spent a lot of time down here when I first came to the station, Thorne replied. His voice was quiet, almost abhorrent, easier than being around people. They walked in silence. The only sounds were their footsteps and the ever-present hum of the station's systems, life support, power distribution, water recycling, the machinery that kept 40,000 souls alive. Thorne stopped suddenly, held up one hand. Sarah froze. A moment later, Oak heard voices echoing from somewhere ahead, deep, rough, speaking in Vorax. Thorne pointed to a junction where the tunnel split three ways. He leaned close, breath warm against her ear. Two guards, watching the approach. They're not expecting anyone from behind. How do you know? Because I'd put guards in the same place. It's tactically sound good sight lines, multiple escape routes, advance warning of anyone approaching from the main access points. Sarah studied the junction. The layout was indeed well chosen. Whoever had planned this knew what they were doing. We need to take them quietly, she whispered. If they raise an alarm, they'll kill your daughter, I know. Thorne was already moving, staying low, using the pipes for cover. Sarah followed. She was a fleet commander trained in strategy and large-scale tactics. Hand-to-hand combat had never been her primary focus. She commanded from bridges, not fought in trenches. But she'd been through the academy. She knew the fundamentals. She hoped it would be enough. They approached the junction from opposite sides. Through gaps in the pipes, Sarah could see two Vorax guards. Each stood over 7 feet tall, solid muscle and grey skin. They carried shock batons crackling with blue energy. Thorne caught her eye, held up 3 fingers. 2, 1. They moved. Sarah came from the left knife already drawn. Academy training guided her hand strike here between armor plates where the nerve cluster should be. The Vorax sensed movement and turned, but she was faster. The blade sank deep. The Vorax grunted and swung his baton. It caught her shoulder. Pain exploded through her body, white-hot electricity seizing every muscle. Her vision went white then red, but she didn't let go of the knife. She twisted it, found something vital. The Vorax collapsed. On the other side, Thorne had tackled his target. The Vorax was bigger, stronger, but Thorne fought like someone who'd done this before. Not clean academy techniques. This was brutal, efficient, born of experience. He got a length of pipe across the Vorax's throat and choked him unconscious in 15 savage seconds. Then silence returned to the tunnels. Sarah leaned against the wall, breathing hard. Her shoulder throbbed where the baton had struck. She'd have burns and nerve damage. But she dealt with worse. Thorne was checking the unconscious guards, ensuring they wouldn't wake soon. His hands were steady, professional. This was muscle memory from another life. You said you were a marine engineer, Sarah said. I was. I also did 3 tours in hostile territory places where engineers needed to fight as much as build. You don't survive that without learning how to kill efficiently. He looked at her. Are you okay? Fine. She pushed off the wall, ignoring the pain. Which way? Thorne pointed down the center tunnel. Old industrial section. Maybe 10 minutes if we move carefully. They left the unconscious guards and pressed deeper. The tunnel sloped downward, air growing colder. Sarah could hear water dripping somewhere, the sound echoing off metal walls. Why did you really leave the Marines? She asked, partly to distract herself from thoughts of what might be happening to Nix, partly because she genuinely wanted to understand this man risking his life for her. Thorne was quiet for a long time. When he spoke, his voice was distant, hollow. After Lily died, I couldn't do it anymore. Couldn't give orders that might get people killed. Couldn't be responsible for lives when I couldn't save my own sister, the one person who should have been safest because she was my responsibility. He shook his head. So I mustered out, found the quietest job I could, spent 5 years moving boxes and trying not to think. Does it work? Not thinking. No, but it's easier than remembering, easier than feeling. Sarah understood that. After her husband died, she'd thrown herself into work. Command kept her busy, kept her moving. If she stopped, the grief would catch up. Maybe she and this cargo worker weren't so different. They reached another junction. Thorn checked his mental map, pointed right. But as they turned the corner, Sarah heard something that stopped her heart. Crying. A child crying. Every instinct screamed at Sarah to run toward that sound, to charge in and save her daughter with bare hands if necessary. But Thorn's hand on her arm stopped her. "Wait," he breathed. "Listen." Sarah forced herself to be still, to listen past Nix's sobbing. Other voices, 3 of them, Vorax, and one was Cracks. She recognized his voice from previous encounters, that grinding rasp like stones scraping together. "Tell us where your mother keeps the command codes," Cracks was saying. "Tell us and we'll let you go home." "I don't know." Nix's voice was thick with tears, raw with fear. "I'm just a kid. Mama doesn't tell me about work." The sound of flesh hitting flesh. Nix screamed. Sarah started forward. Thorn's grip tightened. "If we charge in now, they kill her before we take 3 steps, he said urgently. "They have energy weapons. We have a knife and a pipe. We need a plan. My daughter is being tortured." The words came out as a snarl. "I don't care about plans." Thorn stepped in front of her, blocking her path. His eyes were harder than she'd seen them. "I care. Because a bad plan gets all 3 of us killed. And I'm not watching another kid die because someone acted without thinking. I already did that once. I won't do it again." Sarah wanted to hit him, wanted to scream, but she knew he was right. Her rage, her maternal fury, would get her daughter killed. She forced herself to breathe, to think like a commander instead of a mother. "What do you suggest?" Thorn looked around the tunnel, calculating angles, distances, timing. "I go in first, draw their attention. While they're focused on me, you use your communicator, the encrypted military channel. Call for backup, quietly." "Oh, they'll kill you." "Probably, but I'm harder to kill than I look." He smiled, and it was the saddest expression Sarah had ever seen. "And every second I keep them busy is another second for backup to arrive. Another second your daughter stays alive." Sarah stared at this man. This stranger offering to die for a child he'd met once, for 5 seconds, in a cargo bay. "Why?" she whispered. "Why would you do this?" Thorn looked toward the sound of Nix's crying, his jaw set with grim determination. "Because I couldn't save Lily, but maybe, just maybe, I can save her." He pulled off his tool belt, handed Sarah the heavy flashlight. "When I go in, you stay hidden, get that message sent. And when backup arrives, you get your daughter out. Don't wait for me. Don't look back. Just run." "Thorn, promise me, Commander, you get Nix out. That's what matters. That's the only thing that matters." Sarah wanted to argue, wanted to find another way, a better way, a way where nobody had to die. But time was running out, and this man, this brave broken man, was offering her daughter's only chance. She nodded. "I promise." Thorn took a breath, squared his shoulders, and for a moment Sarah saw the Marine he used to be, the warrior beneath the cargo worker's jumpsuit. Then he stepped around the corner and shouted into the darkness, "Hey, leave the kid alone!" And everything went to hell. 22 Hotrer, the beating. The tunnel opened into a wider chamber, an old storage depot, long abandoned. Crates stacked against walls covered in years of dust. Emergency lights flickered in the ceiling, casting everything in sickly yellow. In the center, Nix knelt on the cold floor. Her blue dress was torn. Her face was marked with bruises, already darkening her silver blue skin. 3 Vorax mercenaries stood over her, cracks worn and grelled. They all turned when Thorn appeared. For one heartbeat, nobody moved. Then Cracks laughed. It sounded like grinding stone. "Look, brothers, a human. A brave little human who thinks he's a hero." Cracks took a step forward, massive and menacing. "Do you know what we do to heroes, human?" "Don't particularly care," Thorn said. His voice was steady calm. "Let the kid go, and you can do whatever you want to me." Vorn pulled out a shock baton. Blue energy crackled along its length, illuminating his cruel smile. "Brave words. Let's see how brave you are when we peel your skin off strip by strip." Nix's eyes went wide. No, don't hurt him. He didn't do anything. Quiet girl, Grell backhanded her casually. Nix's head snapped to the side. Blood trickled from her split lip. Thorn moved before thought could stop him. He charged Grell, got one solid punch in a perfect strike to the throat that made the Vorax stagger back choking and gasping. Then the other two hit him. Krax's fist caught Thorn in the stomach. The air left his lungs in an explosive rush. He doubled over gasping, and Vaughn's baton slammed into his back. Electricity surged through him. Every muscle locked. Every nerve screamed. His vision went white. He hit the floor hard enough to taste blood. "Get up, hero," Krax said almost gently. "We're just getting started." From her hiding spot, 30 feet away, Sarah watched in horror. Her hands shook as she activated her communicator, sending an encrypted burst to the nearest marine unit. Maintenance Level 3. Old Industrial Section Depot 7. 3 Vorax hostiles. Civilian in extreme danger. Need immediate backup. Commander Thane. The confirmation blinked on her screen. Help was coming. 5 minutes, maybe 6. But Thorn didn't have 6 minutes. On the chamber floor, Thorn pushed himself up on trembling arms. Blood dripped from his nose, mixing with the dust and grime. He looked at Nyx, meeting her terrified violet eyes. "It's okay," he said. His voice was rough broken. "You're going to be okay, I promise." Krax kicked him in the ribs. Sarah heard something crack, the sound echoing in the chamber like a gunshot. Stubborn little human. Krax grabbed Thorn by the collar, lifting him like he weighed nothing. "Who sent you, the commander? Does she think one pathetic human can stop us?" Thorn spat blood. "Nobody sent me. I came because someone had to. Because that's a scared kid who needs help." "Had to." Krax slammed Thorn against the crate hard enough to dent the metal. "Had to save some alien brat you don't even know. You're stupider than I thought." "Maybe." Thorn's eyes found Nyx again, holding her gaze. "But she's just a kid, and kids deserve someone to protect them. Even if that someone is just a stupid human." Vaughn hit him with the baton again. More electricity, more pain. Thorn's scream echoed off the walls, raw animal, involuntary. But he didn't fall, didn't collapse. Krax looked genuinely puzzled. "Why won't you stay down? You're going to die anyway. Why make it harder?" Thorn smiled through bloody teeth. "Because she's still scared, and as long as she's scared, I'm getting back up. Every single time." He was right. Nyx was sobbing, hands pressed over her mouth, eyes fixed on the man being beaten for her sake. Watching her guardian refuse to quit. Krax studied Thorn for a long moment. Then he shrugged. "Your choice, human. Your death." The beating continued. Methodical. Brutal, calculated to cause maximum pain without killing too quickly. They took turns, each blow precisely placed. Thorn fell. 4 times he hit the ground. 4 times he dragged himself back to his feet, swaying, barely conscious. Sarah's communicator showed the countdown. 3 minutes until backup. 3 eternal minutes. Please, she thought, praying to gods she'd stopped believing in years ago. Please let him last 3 more minutes. Thorn's face was unrecognizable now. His nose was definitely broken, bent at an unnatural angle. His left eye was swollen completely shut. He moved like every breath was agony, like his ribs were grinding against each other. But he stayed between the Vorax and Nyx, a human shield that refused to fall. "Mama!" Nyx suddenly screamed. "Mama! Please make them stop! Please!" The girl was looking directly at Sarah's hiding spot. She'd known. All this time, Nyx had known her mother was there watching, unable to help. Sarah's hand went to her weapon. Every fiber of her being screamed to attack, to kill these monsters hurting her daughter, destroying this good man who'd asked for nothing, but was giving everything. But she couldn't, not without getting them all killed, not without Nyx dying in the crossfire. All she could do was watch and send the message and pray that help arrived before Thorn's incredible, impossible courage finally ran out. Thorn fell again. This time he didn't get up as fast. His arms shook violently. Blood pooled beneath him, too much blood. His breathing was harsh, wet, suggesting punctured lungs. "Stay down, human," Crax said, almost respectfully now. "You've done enough, more than anyone should. You can stop now." Thorn's hand found a piece of broken crate. He used it to lever himself up. One knee, then both feet, swaying like a tree in a storm, barely conscious vision fading, but standing. "Not yet," he whispered. "Not while she needs me." Crack shook his head, something like wonder in his brutal features. "You're going to die for nothing. You know that, right? We'll kill you. Then we'll kill her. Then we'll kill the commander. You understand that?" "Not nothing." Thorn looked at Nix one last time. "For her." Crax raised his fist for what would certainly be the final blow. The wall exploded inward. Zafirian Marines poured through the breach like a tidal wave. 20 soldiers in full combat armor, weapons raised, moving with lethal precision. The Voraks didn't have time to react. Stun rounds hit them from 3 sides simultaneously. Kraxvorn and Grell collapsed, their massive bodies convulsing. The fight was over in 5 seconds. A Marine captain barked orders. "Secure the hostiles' medic to the civilians." Sarah burst from her hiding place and ran to Nix. Her daughter threw herself into Sarah's arms, sobbing so hard her whole body shook. "Mama, mama, mama, mama. I've got you, baby. You're safe. You're safe now. I've got you." But Nix pulled back, her violet eyes urgent, desperate. "Mama, help him. Please help him. He saved me. You have to save him." Sarah looked over. A Marine medic knelt beside Thorn, who had finally collapsed. The man's breathing was shallow, labored, each breath a visible struggle. Blood covered his face, his chest, his hands, so much blood. He'd taken a beating meant to break him, had endured it long enough to give Sarah time to save her daughter. Sarah left Nix with a Marine and crossed to where Thorn lay. She knelt beside him, taking his hand, carefully, trying not to cause more pain. His eyes fluttered open. That broken smile appeared again. "Kid, okay." His voice was barely a whisper. "Yes, thanks to you." "Good. That's good." The medic was working frantically, injecting stabilizers, sealing the worst wounds with biofoam, monitoring vitals on a handheld scanner. But Sarah could see the damage. Internal bleeding, multiple broken ribs, possible skull fracture, severe trauma to nearly every major organ. The man had been beaten within an inch of his life. For a child, he didn't know. For a mother, he just met. "Why?" Sarah asked the question, escaping before she could stop it. "Why did you do this?" Thorn's smile faded. His eyes looked past her, seeing something far away. Someone far away. "Couldn't save Lily," he murmured. His words were slurred, consciousness fading. "But I could save her. Had to save her. For Lily. For..." His eyes closed. The medic cursed and increased medication flow. "We need to get him to medical now. Commander, with respect, you need to step back." Sarah stood, her hand still holding Thorn's, until this last possible moment. She looked down at this stranger, this cargo worker who had given everything to protect her daughter. She'd commanded thousands of soldiers over her career, had seen bravery and sacrifice on a dozen battlefields across as many systems, medals and honors and warriors dying for causes they believed in, but she'd never seen anything like this. This wasn't duty. This wasn't following orders or fighting for a cause or seeking glory. This was one man choosing to suffer so that one child could live. One man standing between evil and innocence, knowing he would fall, doing it anyway. What kind of person did that? The medics lifted Thorn onto a stretcher. As they carried him away, something fell from his pocket. A photograph worn and creased from years of handling. Sarah picked it up. A teenage girl with brown hair and a bright, brilliant smile. Written on the back in faded ink, Lily Thorn, age 16. My little sister, my best friend. Sarah understood then. Thorn hadn't just been saving Nix, he had been saving his sister, trying to make up for the one time he couldn't protect someone he loved, trying to balance scales that could never truly be balanced. Mama. Nix was beside her holding her hand, looking up with those enormous violet eyes. Is he going to die? I don't know, baby. He has to live. He's my guardian. He saved me. He has to live. Guardian. The word resonated in Sarah's mind, triggering memories of ancient traditions. In Zafirian culture, there was a sacred concept Ketharan, when someone willingly sacrificed themselves to protect a child not their own, not their blood, not even their species. It created a bond of honor that transcended normal relationships. Kate Thorne didn't know it, but by his actions in this dark tunnel, he had become part of their family. According to the oldest laws of her people, he was now Nix's guardian, her protector, her family, and Sarah would not let him die alone. Come on, baby, she said, scooping Nix up, despite the girl being almost too big for carrying. Let's go make sure your guardian knows he's not alone anymore. They followed the medics through the tunnels, back to the light, back to safety. Behind them, station security was securing Kraxvorn and Grell. The three Voraks would face justice for what they'd done. But Sarah knew this wasn't over. The Vorak syndicate didn't forget, didn't forgive. They would come again seeking revenge for this failure. When they did, Sarah would be ready, because Kate Thorne had saved her daughter's life, and Sarah Thane protected her own. All of them. 28 lower. Back to present. The threat. 8 hours after the rescue, Sarah stood in her darkened quarters at 2200 hours, watching Krax's hologram for the third time. The message had been recorded before his escape, sent on a delayed timer to arrive while she sat vigil at Thorne's bedside. Krax had planned this perfectly, knew exactly when to twist the knife. I'm coming back, Commander. Krax's image said, his smile terrible. And when I do, everything you love will burn. Your daughter, your human guardian. One by one, I'll make them scream. The hologram died. Sarah deleted the message and pulled up station security protocols. Thorne was in Medical Bay 7, still unconscious under heavy guard. Nix was in the family room adjacent, sleeping fitfully, refusing to leave until Papa Cade woke up. Both were as safe as Sarah could make them, but safe wasn't enough against someone like Krax. He would find a way. He always found a way. Sarah sent one final message to Admiral Corwin. Request immediate meeting. Credible threat to station security. Need to discuss enhanced protection protocols. Then she allowed herself one moment, just one, to feel the crushing weight of fear. She'd spent 30 years being strong, being perfect, being the commander who never showed weakness, never asked for help, never needed anyone. But Kate Thorne had shown her something different. He'd shown her that strength wasn't about being invincible. It was about getting back up no matter how many times you fell. About protecting others, especially when it cost you everything. He'd done that for Nix, for her. Now it was Sarah's turn to protect him. Outside her window, New Haven Station continued its endless orbit around Earth. The stars turned overhead, cold and distant and beautiful. Somewhere in the medical bay, a broken man slept, dreaming perhaps of mountains and eagles and a sister who would never grow old. Sarah Thane made a promise to the darkness. I will not let you die alone, Cade Thorne. You saved my family. Now I will save you. And when Krax comes, and he will come, he'll learn what it means to threaten a Zafirian mother's family. He'll learn that some bonds can't be broken, not even by death. Ban Hoan Toàn Đúng. Tôi xin lỗi. Part 2 đã vượt qua 8 khiên từ thay vì 5 khiên từ như yêu cầu. Tôi sẽ viết lại Part 2 ngắn gọn hơn cô đồng, hơn chỉ 5 không hồn từ theo đúng outline và giữ chất lượng cao. 30:00 4 weeks later, awakening. Cade Thorne woke to the sound of crying. Not Lily's voice this time. Someone else. Someone real. Please wake up. You have to wake up. His eyes opened slowly. Light stabbed his brain. Everything hurt, deep throbbing pain. suggesting his body had been broken and barely put back together. Hospital bed, beeping machines, holographic vital signs. A small face hovered near his, silver blue skin, violet eyes filled with desperate hope. Nick's memory crashed back. The tunnels, the vorax, the beating. He'd been dying, hadn't he? You're awake. Nick's face split into an enormous smile. I knew you were too stubborn to die. Cade tried to speak. His throat was sandpaper. A medical droid extended water. He drank gratefully. How long? His voice rasped. 4 weeks. Sarah Thane said, stepping into view. She looked different. Hair down instead of severely pulled back. Civilian clothes instead of uniform. Dark circles under her eyes from too many sleepless nights. Medically induced coma. The only way to manage your injuries: broken ribs, fractured skull, internal bleeding, massive nerve damage. She paused. The doctor said most humans wouldn't have survived. Cade looked at Nix. You're okay. She nodded vigorously. Because of you, you wouldn't stay down. Good. That's all that matters. Sarah made a sound between a laugh and a sob. You have 2.3 million credits in medical bills. Your insurance covers maybe 10%. Cade's eyes closed. Debt for life. Maybe death would have been cheaper. I'm paying it, Sarah said firmly. All of it, non-negotiable. In Zafirian culture, when someone performs Ketharan sacred guardianship, the protected family becomes responsible for the guardian. You saved my daughter. That makes you family. I didn't do it for honor or tradition, Cade said quietly. I did it because it was right. I know. That's exactly why you're worthy. Sarah pulled up a chair, Nix climbing into her lap. Ketharan is ancient tradition. You willingly sacrificed yourself to protect a child, not your blood, not your species. That creates an unbreakable bond. You're Nix's guardian now, under our protection, our responsibility. She hesitated. You have no one, Cade. Your records list next of kin none. No emergency contacts, no one to make decisions if you couldn't. The words hurt worse than his injuries. After Lily died, there'd been no one, just emptiness. You do now, Sarah continued. You have us. You're moving into our quarters as soon as you're released. We take care of our own. Cade wanted to argue, but he was so tired of being alone. Okay, he whispered. Thank you. Nix bounced excitedly. You're going to live with us. Nix, Cade needs rest, Sarah said gently. As consciousness faded, Cade heard Nix whisper, Mama came every day, sat right here. She said family doesn't leave family alone. The words followed him down into sleep. For the first time in 5 years, his dreams weren't filled with Lily's death. They were filled with the possibility of living again. 32 Sandor new home. The Zafirian quarters were nothing like Cade's old apartment. That had been a box, 4 walls, a bed, crushing loneliness. This was a home, curved couch by the window overlooking earth, bookshelves filled with data chips and actual paper books, pictures on the walls, Nix at different ages, and a handsome Zafirian male Cade assumed was Sarah's late husband. Your room, Sarah gestured to a door. Small, but it has a window and private bathroom. Cade stood in the doorway, 3 times the size of his old place. Real bed, desk, chair, closet, already stocked with clothes his size. This is too much. It's what you deserve, and I outrank you. I can make it an order. Despite himself, Cade smiled. Yes, ma'am. Cade. Nix appeared with an armload of books. My favorite Earth stories. You can tell me what's true. She dumped them on his bed, flipping through one. This says fish in the ocean are as big as starships. That can't be real. Cade sat carefully, ribs protesting. He looked at the illustration, a blue whale. That's real. Blue whales. I saw one when I was your age. My dad took me and Lily on a boat off California. Nix's eyes went wide. You saw one? Yeah. Came right up to our boat, close enough to touch. Lily was terrified, then started laughing. Said it looked like it was smiling. The memory was sharp. Lily's face bright with wonder. The whale's impossibly ancient eye. Cold Pacific spray. Nix stared with rapt attention. So did Sarah from the doorway. Tell me more. Everything about Earth. For an hour, Kate talked about mountains, touching clouds, storms rolling across prairies, forests, where trees grew taller than buildings. Nix asked over 1,000 questions. Something inside Kate's slowly unthawed eyes, frozen for 5 years, beginning to melt. When Nix finally went to bed, Sarah lingered. Thank you. She hasn't smiled like that since the abduction. The nightmares have been difficult. I'm sorry. Don't be. You're the reason she's alive. Sarah moved to the window looking at Earth. Can I ask something personal? Sure. Why New Haven? Your records show you requested the most remote isolated posting available. Cade was quiet. Finally. After Lily died, I couldn't be around people. Every time I saw someone happy, someone with family, it hurt. So I found a place to disappear, where nobody knew me or cared, where I could just exist without feeling. That sounds incredibly lonely. It was, but easier than the alternative. Sarah turned to face him. My husband died 8 years ago. Commander Thane Nix carries his name. He was defending a colony world when Vorax attacked. Could have retreated, but there were 10,000 civilians. So he stayed, fought until his ship was destroyed. I'm sorry. I was proud and furious. He left me with a 6-month-old and a hole I didn't know how to fill. So I became the perfect commander, strong, untouchable, never needing anyone. She met his eyes. You showed me I was wrong. When I saw you stand up over and over knowing you'd die, I realized strength isn't being invincible. It's choosing to protect others no matter the cost. Kate didn't know what to say. Sarah smiled. Get rest. Tomorrow, Nix wants to show you the hydroponic gardens. Fair warning, she'll talk about plants for 3 hours. I don't mind. I know. That's what makes you special. After she left, Cade pulled out Lily's worn photograph. I think you'd like them, Lil, he whispered. Nix reminds me of you and Sarah. She's trying so hard to be perfect when she doesn't need to be. He placed the photo on the desk, a reminder of loss, but also of why he'd been given a second chance. Outside New Haven Station hummed with life, and for the first time in 5 years, Cade Thorne was part of it. Living, not just existing. 37 Uber reactor crisis. The alarm-shattered breakfast. Cade was teaching Nix to make real scrambled eggs when every screen flashed red. Attention, reactor breach. Section 9, radiation leak. All personnel evacuate immediately. Sarah was instantly on her feet pulling up schematics. Damn, secondary reactor. If it goes critical, half the station goes with it. Mama, Nix's voice was small, frightened. Engineers will fix it. But Sarah's expression said otherwise. What's the situation? Cade asked, military training kicking in. 4 workers trapped, chamber flooding with radiation, human lethal in 18 minutes. Can't they evacuate? Blast door sealed safety protocol. Won't open for hours. They'll be dead in 20 minutes. Sarah's jaw clenched. Engineering teams can only last 10 minutes in rad suits. Not enough time to cut through and evacuate 4 people. Cade was already moving. Humans tolerate radiation better than most species. How long could I last? Sarah grabbed his arm. What are you talking about? Saving those workers. Give me your best red suit. I can get them out. Absolutely not. You just left medical. Your body is still healing. Which is why I go now before I overthink it. Cade met her eyes. 4 people will die, Sarah. 4 people with families. I'm their best chance. You could die. But if I don't try, they definitely die. That's not a choice I can live with. Nix appeared, tears forming. Cade, please don't go. What if you don't come back? Cade knelt despite his ribs protesting. Remember whales, how they're big and strong but gentle. Nix nodded, crying. Humans aren't big or strong, but we're stubborn. Sometimes stubborn is enough. He squeezed her hand. I'll try my hardest to come back. Don't make promises you can't keep, Sarah said, voice tight. Cade stood. 4 people need help. You do the same. Something shifted in Sarah's expression. Understanding. Recognition. You're right, I would. She stepped close. Which is why I know how stupid this is. She slapped him across the face, sharp enough to sting. That's for making me care when I swore I wouldn't. Now go save them. But if you die, her voice cracked, I'll bring you back just to kill you myself. Kate smiled despite everything. Yes, ma'am. 20 minutes later, Kate stood in the deepest maintenance levels, wearing a rat suit that felt like lead. The radiation counter climbed, yellow, orange, red. Trapped workers behind a door marked with warnings. Through the window, 3 humans, 1 Trilaxian all collapsed. The cutting torch felt impossibly heavy. Training said, go slow, but his counter screamed, critical levels, no time for slow. He fired up the torch. The door was reinforced steel, designed to contain this exact breach. It fought every centimeter. Sparks flew. The counter climbed into nameless zones. His hands shook. Radiation sickness, nausea, vision blurring. But those people didn't have time for weakness. The door finally gave with a screech. Cade kicked it open and stumbled inside. 3 breathing. The Trilaxian wasn't moving. He grabbed the first, a woman 30-ish, and dragged her out. Dead weight. Got her to the safe zone. Went back for the second. Third. His counter stopped beeping. Bad. Meant levels too high to measure. The Trilaxian was last. Heavy. Halfway to the door, Cade's legs gave out. He fell, vision tunneling. The suit's alarms screaming. Just a little further. He crawled, dragging the Trilaxian. 5 feet. 3. 1. They crossed the threshold. The emergency bulkhead slammed shut. Medical teams swarmed. Someone pulling off his helmet. Voices shouting about radiation and chelation and decontamination. The last thing Kate saw was Sarah's face, pale, furious, terrified. You stubborn, impossible fool, she said, or he imagined it. Then darkness. 42 Obred Confessions. Cade woke in medical. Again, becoming a bad habit, but different this time. Weight on his hand, warmth, someone holding on like afraid he'd disappear. Sarah sat beside his bed, asleep in the chair, hand wrapped around his, exhausted but beautiful. You're staring, she said without opening her eyes. Sorry, you didn't wake me. I wasn't really sleeping. She sat up but didn't let go. How do you feel? Like I swam through a reactor. Close, 3 days of chelation therapy. Radiation enough to kill most humans 3 times over. You'll recover fully, but... Her voice tightened. It was close, Cade, closer than the beating. The workers, all alive, the Trilaxian Kelvor woke yesterday. Asked about the human who saved him. When I told him, he cried, said his daughter is Nix's age, said you gave him his life back. Cade closed his eyes. Good. Why? Sarah's voice was intense. Don't say right thing. I need to understand why you keep risking everything for strangers. Cade searched for words. Finally, after Lily died, I asked why her and not me. She was good. Smart mattered. I was just me. I couldn't find an answer, so I decided if I kept living, it had to mean something. Every life I save balances the scales a little. Makes up for the one I couldn't save. Sarah's hand tightened. You can't spend your life trying to die for others. That's not living. That's slow suicide. I'm not trying to die. I'm trying to make my life mean something. Your life already means something. Her voice cracked. To Nix, to me. Cade looked at her, really looked, saw what he'd been too broken to notice. Sarah, let me finish. She took a breath. When my husband died, I swore never to love again. Love made you weak, vulnerable. I'd be strong by being alone. She stood leaning close. But you showed me love doesn't make you weak. It makes you strong. Strong enough to stand knowing you'll fall. Strong enough to run into radiation for strangers. Her forehead touched as the Zephyrian gesture of deep affection. I'm falling in love with you, Cade Thorne. Actually, I am in love with you, and that terrifies me. The words hung crystalline between them. Cade's heart raced. I'm broken, he whispered. Nightmares, PTSD, not exactly a prize. Neither am I. Single mother, trust issues, dangerous job. We're disasters. Perfect for each other then. Sarah laughed like ice breaking winter ending. Is that a yes? I'm terrified, but I want to try. You and Nix make me want to live, not just exist. He squeezed her hand. Yes, she kissed him. Not Zafirian, human, lips and breath and warmth and promise. For the first time in 5 years, Kate felt something other than grief. Hope, life, the possibility he deserved happiness. 5200 Vorax strikes back. The alarms woke them 2 days later. Released from medical that morning, Cade and Sarah were having dinner with Nix when the broadcast started. Attention! Hostile vessels approaching. All military personnel to battle stations. Civilians to emergency shelters. Sarah moved instantly. Nix emergency bag. Now. What's happening? Precaution. Quickly. Sarah pulled up tactical displays. 3 ships approaching. Vorax raiders. They're hitting while I'm off ship. Fleets in Sector 7. 45 minutes to return. How long? Cade asked. 18 minutes. Nix emerged with her backpack. Sarah hugged her fears. Civilian shelter level 2. Cade takes you. What about you? Command center. Coordinate defense. She looked at Cade. Keep her safe. Always. Sarah kissed Nix's forehead. Then Cade quick fierce. Come back, he said. I always do. She ran for command. Cade took Nix's hand as alarms screamed. Corridors were chaos. Civilians flooding shelters. Security preparing. The first impacts hit. New Haven shuddered. They reached Shelter 2. Marines guarding the reinforced bunker. Cade knelt to Nix's level. You're safe here. This bunker can survive anything. You're coming too. He hesitated. Other people needed help. Others scared children. I need to help evacuation, but I'll be right outside. Cade, please. The station rocked harder. Lights flickered red. A Marine sergeant appeared. Sir, we seal now. Go, Cade told Nix, hating it. I'll see you soon. Who watched the door close saw her frightened face through the window. Then the seal engaged. Cade turned to the sergeant. Where do you need me? The attack was worse than expected. The Vorax were boarding. Cade helped evacuate outer sections. Just got a Centauri family to safety. When the explosion hit, the wall blew inward. Through smoke, 5 Vorax in combat armor, leading them Grell, the one who'd escaped, who'd sworn revenge. Grell's eyes locked on Cade. You! The security team fired. Energy bolts splashed off Vorax shields harmlessly. The Vorax returned fire. Security went down stunned. Cade dove behind a column. No weapon, no armor, just a maintenance tool. The Vorax advanced. Cade ran leading them from civilians. 3 corridors before they cornered him. No exit, just him and 5 Vorax. Grell stepped forward, removing his helmet. The Guardian, the hero. He pulled out a shock baton. Cracks wanted this slow, wanted us to record it, wanted your commander to watch you die screaming. Cade raised his pathetic tool. Let's get this over with. They came at him together. Professional beating. Calculated. Efficient. They'd learned from the tunnels. Made each hit count. Cade went down. Tried to rise. Got kicked down. Vision blurred. Ribs cracked again. Blood filled his mouth. Then he heard it. The sound that stopped his heart. The bunker door opening. No. But Nix stood at the corridor's end. Frozen, staring. Cade, she screamed. Grell turned. Smiled. The commander's daughter. A bonus. He moved toward her. Cade grabbed Grell's ankle and pulled. The Vorax stumbled, turned, brought the baton down. Electricity, fire, agony. But Cade didn't let go. Run! He screamed. Nix was frozen. 4 Vorax advancing on her. The world exploded. The wall disintegrated. Through smoke, a figure in Zafirian combat armor. Sarah Thane, transformed. Not commander or mother, pure warrior. Her eyes were death itself. Get away from my family. What followed wasn't a fight, a massacre. Sarah moved like liquid violence. First, Vorax died before raising his weapon. Second, fired shot splashed off shields. She killed him barehanded. Third and fourth rushed together. Mistake. She used one as a shield, killed both in strikes too fast to follow. Grell backed away. Sarah shot his shield generator, grabbed his throat, slammed him into the wall. You touched my daughter, hurt the man I love. Give me one reason not to kill you. Commander A. Marine appeared. We need him for intelligence. Sarah's hand tightened. For one terrible moment, she threw Grell at the Marines. Take him. If he escapes, I'm holding you responsible. She ran to Nyx, first scooping her up, checking frantically. Are you hurt? I'm okay. But Cade. Sarah knelt beside Cade, hands gentle. You left command during battle, violated every regulation. The station is holding. Vorax retreated. But none of that matters if my family isn't safe. She touched his face carefully. You're the man I love. I can't lose you. Won't lose you. I love you too, Cade managed. Nyx cried happy tears. You love each other. We're a real family. Medical teams arrived. Before they took Cade, he held Sarah's hand. Done almost dying, getting old. Good. I'm not done needing you alive. 58 Laura. The proposal. 1 week later, medical bay. Minor injuries, this time cracked ribs, bruising, mild concussion. The door opened. Sarah and Nyx entered in formal robes. Sarah carried a glowing crystal. We need to talk, Sarah said, nervous. Ominous. She sat on his bed. Cade Thorne, you've saved my daughter twice. Become part of our family. Shown me it's possible to love again. She took a breath. In Zafirian culture, when someone proves themselves through repeated selfless courage, they may be invited to join the family permanently through Shalaran. Cade's heart raced. Sarah, I'm asking you to marry me. Bond with me. Zafirian style. It's permanent, cannot be broken. You'd be my husband, Nyx's father, full clan member. Silence hung. I know it's sudden, Sarah continued. I know we've only known each other weeks, but life is short and dangerous. I don't want to waste time afraid. I want... Yes, Cade interrupted. Sarah blinked. What yes? I'll marry you. Bond with you. Yes. Nyx squealed, jumping. Sarah looked stunned. You don't want time to think. I spent 5 years thinking. Thinking got me nowhere. Cade took her hand. You're asking me to be part of a family. Why would I say no? Because it's permanent, forever, no way out. Sarah, I watched you charge into battle to save me. Seen you be warrior and mother and the strongest person I know. If you'll take a chance on a broken cargo worker, I'll take a chance on forever. Sarah kissed him desperately. When they broke apart, she was crying happy tears. Ceremony in 3 weeks. I'll teach you everything. It's public, everyone watches. I can handle it. You're sure? Absolutely. Cade looked at Nyx, grinning hugely. At Sarah, looking at him like he was precious. Never been more sure of anything. Nyx handed him the crystal. It pulsed warm, responding to his touch. Welcome to the family, Papa Cade. Just like that, Cade Thorne, alone for 5 years, broken to believing his only value was dying for others, became part of something bigger. Family, future, a reason to live. Outside New Haven orbited Earth. Continents passed. North America, the Rockies, where Lily was buried. When a Hillot, she'd be happy, would tell him it was about time. I found them, Lil, he whispered. Found a family, a reason, everything. Somewhere beyond the stars, he liked to think his sister was smiling. 16th the choice. The private quarters were quiet. Cade sat on his bed, the ceremonial crystal in his palm. It pulsed with soft blue light, warm against his skin. In 3 weeks, this crystal would bind him permanently to Sarah and Nyx. He should have been happy. Instead, he was terrified. The door chimed. "Come in." Nix entered in sleep clothes, climbing onto the bed beside him. Her violet eyes were curious old, beyond her 8 years. "You're thinking too loud," she said. "Mama says when you think too loud, you're scared. Your mama's smart. So what scares you? How did you explain survivor's guilt to a child? How did you say that every time you got close to someone, your brain screamed warnings about loss and pain?" "I'm scared. I'm not good enough," he said finally. "You and your mom deserve better than a cargo worker with nightmares." Nix tilted her head, considering. "You know what Mama told me about you?" "What?" "She said you're like the old Earth warriors in my books, the ones without magic swords or super strength, just brave hearts. Well, that's better than any weapon." Cade felt his throat tighten. "And you look at me the way you look at your sister's picture," Nix continued. "Like I'm someone worth protecting, like I matter. Mama says everyone needs someone who looks at them like that." She leaned against his shoulder, small and trusting. "You look at us like you'd fight the whole galaxy for us, and we look at you the same way." Something broke open in Cade's chest. He pulled Nix into a hug. "I'm still scared," he admitted. "That's okay. Brave people are always scared. They just do the right thing anyway." A knock. Sarah stood in the doorway, watching with an expression of love and concern. "Nick's bed," she said gently. "But Cade needs. I'll talk to him. Go." Nix hugged Cade once more, then scampered off. Sarah took her place, sitting close. "She's right," Sarah said, "about the brave heart. My heart's a mess, full of holes from people I've lost. So is mine. We can be broken together." Cade turned to her. In the dim light, she looked vulnerable. Not Commander Thane. Just Sarah, a woman who'd lost her husband, a mother who'd almost lost her child. "What if I fail you?" he asked. "What if something happens and I can't protect you? Then we fail together." "But Cade, I'm not asking for perfection. I'm asking you to be present, to choose us every day." She took his hand around the crystal. "My husband died a hero, saved thousands. I was proud. But he left me alone to grieve and be strong simultaneously. I resented him for that." "Sarah, when I met you, I saw someone who kept choosing heroism. I was terrified you'd die like he did, that Nix would lose another father, that I'd lose someone I loved again." She faced him fully, eyes shining. "But I realized you're not trying to die gloriously. You're trying to live meaningfully. There's a difference. My husband ran toward death because it was duty. You run toward danger because you can't live with yourself otherwise. One is about honor, the other is about love. I can't promise to always come back. I'm not asking you to. I'm asking you to promise to try, to fight to come home to us." Cade looked at the crystal, at their joined hands, at this woman who'd seen his broken pieces and decided he was worth fighting for. He thought about Lily, about the promise he'd made 5 years ago to make his life count, to not waste the years she'd never have. Lily would have liked Sarah, would have loved Nix, would have told him to stop being an idiot and grab happiness. "Okay," he said. "I'm all in. No more running." Sarah's smile was like sunrise. She pressed her forehead to his. "Thank you for choosing us. Thank you for giving me something worth choosing." They sat like that, two broken people, deciding to be whole together. Outside the station hummed with life. Tomorrow would bring challenges, but tonight they had peace. It was enough. 65 Andres preparation. The next 3 weeks blurred together. Sarah taught Cade the Shalaran ceremony, words, gestures, meanings behind each ritual. When the priest asks if you accept the bond, say Keltaran Marseva, "I accept with my whole soul," Sarah explained one evening. "Then place your hand over your heart, then mine." Cade practiced. It felt weighty, important. What if I mess up the words? The ceremony is about intention, not perfection. Though try not to accidentally promise to clean my weapons for eternity. The words sound similar. I'll be careful. During days, Cade worked cargo, though people treated him differently now. Some with respect, others with caution, like he might explode. Peters, his supervisor, pulled him aside. Thorn, you've got vacation saved. Take it. Enjoy time before you're bonding. I'd rather work. Keeps me occupied. Peter studied him. When I met you 5 years ago, you looked like a ghost. Already dead, just hadn't noticed. Now you look alive. Take the time. Spend it with your family. So Kate took it. Discovered being part of a family was a full-time job. Nix demanded help with school projects, always involving earth animals requiring extensive storytelling. Sarah taught him Zafirian cooking with spices that made his eyes water. One evening while cooking, Sarah said casually, I have been thinking about after the bonding. Oh, I want a station side posting. Something that keeps me on New Haven instead of deployed with the fleet. Kate looked up from vegetables. Sarah, you love commanding your ship. I love my family more. Nix needs stability. We both do. She met his eyes. Unless you think that's a mistake, I think it's one of the smartest things I've heard you say. She smiled, relieved. Good. Already submitted the request. Chief of Security. Same rank, different responsibilities. More time home. What did your superiors say? That if I was choosing a human cargo worker over commanding a starship, I'd clearly lost my mind. Then they approved it. She moved closer. I spent 8 years being the perfect officer. Always on duty. Always strong. Time I tried being the imperfect wife and mother instead. You'll be terrible at imperfect. I know. You'll have to help. They kissed. Nix made gagging sounds from the doorway. Gross save kissing for after marriage. Bonding, Sarah corrected. And we're practicing. Practice quieter. After Nix retreated, they laughed. Real genuine laughter from happiness. This is really happening, Kate said. In a week I'm your husband, Nix's father. Having second thoughts? No, just grateful. I spent 5 years thinking life was over, that I'd never feel anything but guilt. But you two gave me a reason to live again. Sarah's eyes glistened. We saved each other, all three of us. 70 Holcourt. The ceremony begins. New Haven's main docking bay had been transformed. Blue and silver banners, hung from the ceiling, represent our joined souls. The floor was covered in bioluminescent flowers from Zafiria's northern continent. Expensive, but Sarah had insisted. Chairs arranged in a semicircle faced a raised platform. People were arriving, Zafirian officers in dress uniforms, human station workers, alien diplomats. Even Admiral Corwin had come, his blue Andorian skin matching the decorations. Kate stood in a side room, adjusting ceremonial robes for the 20th time. Midnight blue fabric with silver threading. He felt ridiculous and important simultaneously. Peters appeared in the doorway. You clean up nice, Thorn. I feel like I'm wearing curtains. Very expensive curtains. Peters grinned. Ready? Terrified. Good. Anyone not scared before their wedding is lying or stupid. He pulled out a flask. Whiskey. From Earth. Thought you might need it. Kate took a sip. The burn was familiar, comforting. Thanks. You deserve this. Happiness, family, all of it. The door opened. Admiral Corwin entered, expression unreadable. Admiral, Kate said, suddenly nervous. Mr. Thorn. Corwin's voice was gruff. When Sarah submitted her transfer request, I was against it. Thought she was making a mistake. Giving up command for a human civilian seemed unwise. Kate's stomach sank. But then I reviewed her reports, read what you did in those tunnels, in the reactor, during the attack. Corwin stepped closer. You're not military, no formal training, should have died half a dozen times, but you didn't, because you're too relentless to quit. He held out his hand. I was wrong about you. Sarah isn't making a mistake. She's making the smartest decision of her life. Welcome to the family. Kate shook, stunned. Thank you, sir. Don't thank me yet. If you hurt her or that little girl, I'll space you personally. Clear. Completely. Corwin nodded and left. Peters whistled. Terrifying and heartwarming simultaneously. That's my life now. Music began. Zafirian flutes, haunting and beautiful. Time. Cade walked onto the platform. 300 people watching. All waiting. His hands shook. This was real. Then he saw Nix near the front in shimmering silver. When she saw him, her face lit up with the biggest smile. She waved, bouncing. The fear faded. This wasn't about the crowd. This was about that little girl who decided he was worth loving. The music shifted. The crowd turned. Sarah entered. Cade forgot how to breathe. She wore traditional bonding robes, white fabric shimmering with inner light covered in patterns, telling her family's history. Silver hair unbound flowing down her back. No jewelry except a crystal pendant matching the one Cade carried. But her face, she was crying, happy tears catching light as she walked toward him. Her eyes never left his. She climbed the platform, took his hands, trembling. "Hi," she whispered. "Hi, you look... If you say I look like a commander, I'm canceling this. I was going to say, you look like home." Her tears fell faster. "Damn you, Cade Thorne. You're ruining my makeup." The Zafirian priest stepped forward. Elderly female, with pale blue skin, she raised her hands. "We gather to witness Shalaran, the bonding of souls. Not marriage as humans know it. This is permanent, unbreakable, sacred." Her voice carried. Sarah Thane, daughter of House Morvan, and Cade Thorne, son of Earth, have chosen to join their lives forever. Who speaks for them? Nix stepped forward. "I do. I'm Nix, and Cade is my guardian, and Mama's love, and my papa, and the bravest person I know." Gentle laughter rippled. The priest smiled. "And do you accept this bonding, child?" "Yes, 1,000 times yes." "Then let us begin." The priest turned to Cade. "Cade Thorne, do you accept Sarah as your bonded partner? Do you swear to protect her honor, her stand with her in joy and sorrow, in peace and war for all your days?" Cade looked at Sarah, at the woman who'd given him reason to live. "Keltaran Marseva," he said clearly. "I accept with my whole soul." He placed his hand over his heart, then over hers, felt her heartbeat quick, strong, alive. The priest turned to Sarah. "Sarah Thane, do you accept Cade as your bonded partner? Do you swear to cherish him, support him, stand with him in joy and sorrow, in peace and war for all your days?" "Keltaran Marseva," Sarah said. "I accept with my whole soul." She mirrored his gesture, hand warm against his chest. Nix stepped forward with the crystal glowing brighter now. The priest held it between their joined hands. "This crystal has absorbed your intentions, your promises, your souls recognizing each other. When you accept it together, the bonding is complete. There is no going back." "Are you certain?" "Yes," they said together. "Then by ancient Zafirian laws, by this community's witness, by your own heart's choice." The base alarms screamed to life. Red lights flashed. Holographic displays lit with tactical data. Through the massive windows, Cade saw it. A Vorax battleship, 10 times larger than before. Weapons ports glowing, charging. The priest froze. The crowd erupted in panic. But Sarah's hand tightened on Cade's. "They're here for us," she said. "Krax's final revenge." A voice boomed over communications. Krax's voice transmitted from the battleship. "Commander Thane, Cade Thorne, 10 minutes to surrender yourselves or we destroy New Haven Station. All 40,000 souls, your choice, your bonding or their lives." The crowd stampeded toward exits. Marines shouted orders. Everyone knew the truth. One battleship against minimal station defenses meant slaughter. Sarah looked at Cade, fierce. "We're not surrendering." "Why, damn right. But we can't let them destroy the station." "So what do we do?" Nix grabbed both their hands. "We fight, together, like a family." Staring at his almost wife and soon-to-be daughter, Cade had an idea. Crazy, reckless, probably suicidal. Perfect. "I have a plan," he said. "But Sarah, you'll hate it." She kissed him hard. "Tell me anyway." September say Oden Canaries the bait plan. The command center was chaos. Officers shouting, tactical displays showing the battleship. Countdown 8 minutes. Sarah stood at the center projecting calm. Cade beside her, Nix between them. "Options," Sarah demanded. Station weapons are online but designed for small raiders. Her tactical officer reported that battleship's shields can absorb anything we have. If we attack first, they'll fire back. Station shields won't last 30 seconds. Evacuation. 40,000 people, we need hours. We have minutes. So we're trapped, Admiral Corwin said grimly. Surrender, they kill you both. Fight, they kill everyone. No, Sarah said. All eyes turned. There's a third option. She pulled up station schematics. Krax wants us dead, wants to watch. That's his weakness, he wants a show. Commander, Corwin asked. We give him one. Sarah's eyes were sharp, calculating. I go out in a shuttle, broadcast that I'm surrendering, draw the battleship's attention. Sarah, no. Cade started. Let me finish. While Krax focuses on me, Cade leads a strike team hidden in the shuttle's cargo bay. We get aboard. I keep Krax distracted. Cade's team takes out their bridge. Without leadership, they scatter. The command center went silent. Then everyone spoke at once. That's insane. You'll be killed. They'll detect the strike team. Enough. Sarah's voice cut through. She looked at Cade. This plan requires me to be bait, to face Krax alone while you get into position. Sarah, he'll try to kill me, I'll be exposed. I know. You could lose me before reaching me. Cade took her hands. Then I'll move fast, because I'm not losing you, not when we're this close. Sarah turned to her tactical officer. How many troops can we hide in a cargo shuttle? Commander, you're not seriously. How many? 25 if we stack tight. Get me 25 Marines, best we have, full combat gear, prep shuttle 7 reinforced hull stealth plating. Orders flew. In 5 minutes, they'd assembled a strike team. Sarah was shooting up light armor emergency systems. Cade worked beside her, movements sharp with controlled fear. I hate this plan, she said. I know. If you die, I'll never forgive you. I know that too. She grabbed his arm. Cade, I can't lose you. Not now. Not when we were so close. Sarah. He took her face in his hands. I'm not planning to die. I'm planning to keep Krax busy while you save everyone, including me. How are you so calm? Because I trust you. You're the best warrior I've seen. You'll get to him in time. Nyx appeared still in her silver dress. Papa Cade, you have to come back. We didn't finish the ceremony. Cade knelt, pulling her close. I promise I'll try my absolute hardest. Only if you're brave too. Deal. A Marine sergeant appeared. Commander strike team loaded. Shuttle ready. Sarah looked at Cade. At the man she'd almost married. The future they'd almost claimed. Don't you dare die before I call you husband, she said. Then move fast, Commander. They kissed. Quick fears full of everything unsaid. Then Sarah disappeared into the shuttle's cargo bay with her Marines. Cade climbed into the pilot's seat. Through the cockpit window, he could see the Vorax battleship waiting. Patient, confident. This was insane. But insane beat letting 40,000 people die. He opened a channel broadcasting to the entire station and the battleship. Krax, this is Cade Thorne. I'm coming to you. Let the station go. This is between us. Silence. Then Krax's grinding voice. The human hero. Finally showing sense. Come, Thorne. Come, die like you should have died months ago. Cade launched the shuttle. Behind him, hidden in cargo, Sarah and 25 Marines prepared for war. No going back. 78 Encircled the trap. The shuttle crossed the distance in agonizing slow motion. The Vorax battleship grew larger hull, scarred from 100 battles. Weapon ports tracked him like predator eyes. Thorne, Sarah's voice through his earpiece private channel. We're in position. As soon as you dock, we move. Copy. And Cade, I love you. In case I don't get to say it later, you'll say it at our ceremony, which we're finishing after this. Relentless man. You love that about me. I really do. The docking bay opened like a mouth. Cade guided the shuttle inside. The moment he crossed the threshold, bay doors slammed shut. Magnetic clamps locked on. Vorax warriors appeared, at least 50 weapons raised. In the center, wearing bone-decorated armor, stood Krax. He'd grown meaner in the months since his escape. His eyes burned with hate. Cade opened the shuttle door, stepped out, hands raised. Here I am. Krax approached, slowly savoring it. The guardian, the hero, the human who made us look weak. He backhanded Cade across the face. You should have stayed dead. Cade spat blood. Probably. But I'm stubborn. Krax laughed. Yes, that's what makes this satisfying. He gestured. Strip him. Chain him. Everyone will watch this. Vorax's hands grabbed Cade roughly, tore off his armor. Heavy chains designed for dangerous criminals locked around wrists and ankles. Krax activated station-wide broadcast. Every screen showed the docking bay, showed Cade chained and surrounded. People of New Haven, Krax announced, this is what happens to those who defy Vorax. Watch as we break your hero. Watch him scream. Know you are next. Cade caught movement in his peripheral vision. The shuttle's cargo door cracking open an inch. Sarah and her team getting into position. He needed to buy time. Is this where you monologue about your evil plan? Cade asked. Because I've had a long day. Krax's eyes narrowed. Mistake. Yeah, you think you've won. Got me chained. Got New Haven threatened. Everything under control. Cade smiled. But you made one critical error. What's that? You assumed I came alone. The cargo bay door exploded outward. 82 Honrer. The final battle. Sarah Thane emerged like an avenging angel. Combat armor gleaming. Weapon firing. Behind her, 25 Zephyrian Marines, the sector's most elite warriors. The Vorax barely reacted. Marines moved with lethal precision trained for exactly this. Energy bolts lit the bay. Vorax fell, but Krax was fast. He grabbed Cade's shock baton to his throat. Stop! Krax bellowed. Stop or the human dies. Sarah froze. Marines held position. Silence except for sparking damaged systems. Krax's breath was hot on Cade's neck. You think you're clever, Commander? I have your precious human. Surrender or I'll... Cade drove his head backward with all his strength. His skull connected with Krax's nose. Satisfying crunch. Krax staggered, releasing Cade. Now Sarah. Sarah didn't hesitate. Her shot took Krax in the shoulder, spinning him. Marines rushed forward, engaging remaining Vorax. The bay became a war zone. Energy bolts everywhere. Vorax fought desperately, but disorganized, leaderless. Marines cut through methodically. Krax, wounded and enraged, charged Sarah. She met him head-on. The collision would have killed a human. Her armor absorbed impact. She grappled with the massive Vorax. You took everything, Krax roared. My crew, my freedom, my honor. You tried to kill my daughter, Sarah snarled. Tortured the man I love, threatened 40,000 innocents. They broke apart, circling. Krax pulled a curved blade, traditional Vorax weapon. Sarah drew her own, Zephyrian steel forged in old ways. They clashed. Krax was larger, stronger. But Sarah was faster, more skilled. Trained since childhood. Every move precise. Economical. Deadly. Cade, still chained, could only watch. Heart hammering as Sarah ducked a slash that would have taken her head. As she countered with a strike, opening a cut across Krax's ribs. Krax was slowing. Blood loss and rage making him sloppy. He overextended on a thrust. Sarah caught his blade arm, twisted and drove her knee into his elbow. Bone cracked. Krax howled. But he wasn't done. With his offhand, he grabbed Sarah by the throat, lifted her off the ground. Her blade fell. Die, Commander, Krax hissed. Die knowing you failed. Light exploded behind him. Nyx stood in the shuttle doorway, holding the bonding crystal. It blazed blue-white, responding to her desperate need, channeling energy. The light hit Krax's eyes. He screamed temporarily. Blinded, dropped Sarah. She hit the ground, rolled, came up with her blade. One smooth motion drove it through Krax's chest. The Vorax leader staggered, looked down at the blade, then at Sarah. You were supposed to be weak.
I was never weak, Sarah said quietly. I was alone. I'm not alone anymore. Cracks fell. Remaining Vorax, seeing their leader dead, threw down weapons. Marines secured them quickly. Over. Sarah ran to Cade, hands shaking as she worked on his chains. Are you hurt? I'm fine.
You came in time. You always do. Chains fell. Cade pulled Sarah into his arms, feeling her heart racing. Both shaking, both alive. Nyx ran to them, still clutching the crystal. She squeezed between them. We won, she whispered. We're safe. Yeah, kid, Cade said. We're safe. A Marine sergeant approached. Commander, battleship secure. Minimal casualties. Station reports other Vorax vessels fleeing, word of Krax's death spreading fast. Sarah nodded, still holding Cade. Secure the battleship. Prep for tow. Get me a comm line to New Haven. Tell them threats over. Admiral Corwin's voice came through. Commander Thane, watching the feed. Impressive work. You just saved 40,000 lives. Thank you, sir. There's something else. The whole sector was watching. Your battle with Krax broadcast across 17 systems. Instead of seeing his victory, they saw a Zafirian commander and human civilian take down a battleship with 25 Marines. Sarah looked at Cade, both thinking the same thing. Symbols, heroes, the kind of story spreading across the galaxy. Sir, Sarah said carefully, does this means you'll have reporters, politicians, glory seekers hounding you for months, but also means you've shown the galaxy what we accomplished together. Human and alien, warrior and civilian, family. Speaking of which, Corwin continued, you have an unfinished ceremony. The priest is waiting. Most guests returned. They're not leaving until they see you properly bonded. Sarah laughed, exhaustion, joy, disbelief. Tell them we'll be right there. 87 Zurur, the completed ceremony. 30 minutes later, Cade stood on the platform again. Still in his torn flight suit, blood-stained. Sarah in scorched combat armor. They looked nothing like the perfect couple who'd started the ceremony. They looked exactly right. The crowd had returned, not all but enough. People who'd watched them fight, refused to surrender, win. The priest stepped forward, smiling. Well, that was the most dramatic interruption I've witnessed in 60 years. Shall we try again? Please, Sarah said, before something else explodes. The priest held up the bonding crystal, the one Nyx had used to blind Krax, still glowing. We reached the final step before interruption, the acceptance of the bond. Are you both still certain? Cade and Sarah looked at each other. They just fought a battle together, trusted each other with their lives, protected each other and Nyx. Yes, Cade said. Absolutely, Sarah agreed. Then place your hands together on the crystal. They did. The moment their skin touched the surface, light blazed, warm, almost hot. Cade felt something shift in his chest, like a door opening, like coming home. The priest's voice rang out. By your choice, by your courage, by your commitment to each other and the child you protect, I declare you bonded. May your souls walk together for all your days. May your love shield against darkness. May your family beacon for others. She lowered the crystal. Cade Thorne and Sarah Thane, you are now one family bound for eternity. The crowd erupted. Nyx squealed, jumping. Sarah grabbed Cade's face and kissed him. Not gentle Zafirian, but fierce human, promising forever. When they broke apart, both crying. We did it, Sarah whispered. We actually did it. Told you I'd make it. You also told me to move fast. 4 minutes, 30 seconds from Shuttle Bay to Krax's chest. Show off. Nyx crashed into them, wrapping around their legs. I have a papa, a real papa, bonded forever. Cade picked her up. You're stuck with me. No returns. Good, you're the best papa in the galaxy. The crowd surged forward. Congratulations touches being part of the story. But for a moment, the three stood in their own bubble, a family, complete. Admiral Corwin appeared. Commander, Mr. Thorne, I hate to interrupt, but you're being hailed. By whom? Sarah asked. Everyone. Galactic Council, Earth Government, 6 news networks, and he paused uncomfortable. The Etherian Confederacy. They want to discuss hiring you for a rescue mission. Their children have been taken by slavers. They heard what you did today. Sarah and Cade exchanged glances, looked at Nix. What do you think? Cade asked. Should we help? Nix considered seriously, nodded. We're a family. Families protect each other. Maybe we should protect other families too. Sarah smiled. When did you get so wise? I learned from the best. 90-0 epilogue. 3 months later. The observation deck was quiet. Most of the station asleep. Cade liked late shifts watching Earth turn below. Sarah found him there carrying 2 mugs of tea. Handed him one, stood beside him, shoulder touching. Can't sleep, she asked. Just thinking about how much has changed. 6 months ago I was alone. No family, no purpose. Just moving boxes, trying not to feel. And now I'm married to the most incredible woman in the galaxy. Father to the bravest little girl I've met. And apparently some kind of symbol of human-alien cooperation. Sarah laughed softly. The Galactic Council went overboard with that medal ceremony. Still can't believe they made us ambassadors. Honorary ambassadors. Mostly symbolic. She sipped the tea. Though the Etherian mission was very real. Very successful. They'd spent the last month helping Etherians rescue their children from slavers. Dangerous, exhausting, ultimately triumphant. 23 children returned. Slavers facing justice across 3 systems. I got a message today, Cade said. From Kelvor, the Trilaxian from the reactor. Oh, wanted to tell me his daughter started school. Included a picture. Cade pulled up his datapad. Young Trilaxian girl, orange skin, glistening. He said if I ever need anything, just ask. Said I gave him the chance to watch his daughter grow. He'll never forget. Sarah was quiet. Then, you gave a lot of people that chance, me included. You gave me a chance too, a reason to keep living. They stood together watching stars. Down the hall, Nix's soft breathing from a room. Their daughter, their family. Sarah's communicator chimed. She checked, smiled. What? Cade asked. New mission requests. Century Diplomatic Corps. Want us to mediate peace negotiations between 2 colony worlds. They trust us because we represent the best of what different species accomplish together. Do we take it? Depends. How do you feel about 2 weeks on a Century diplomatic vessel with formal dinners and political negotiations? Cade groaned. Sounds awful, but they're offering to pay for Nix's education, full scholarship to any academy in the galaxy. Then I can suffer through formal dinners. Sarah kissed his cheek. That's my relentless hero. They turned from the window. Hand in hand walked back toward their quarters, toward their daughter, toward their life together. Cade Thorne had spent 5 years trying to die meaningfully. Instead, he'd learned to live meaningfully, with a family he'd chosen and who'd chosen him, with purpose beyond his own pain. He'd become a guardian, a husband, a father, a symbol. But most importantly, he'd become whole. As he climbed into bed beside Sarah, feeling her warmth, listening to Nix breathe in the next room, he finally understood what Lily would have wanted. Not to waste his life trying to make up for hers, but to live fully, love completely, protect fiercely, to be happy. Outside, stars turned in endless dance. New Haven continued its orbit. Somewhere in the galaxy, other families were being torn apart, needing someone to stand for them. Tomorrow, Cade and Sarah would answer another call, fight another battle, save more lives. But tonight, they were just a family, safe, together, complete. It was enough. It was everything.